Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Kevin and this is my wife Sarah. Well, this is now week 3 for the broiler chicken experiment. If you haven't been following along, we'll catch you up to speed real fast. We've noticed kind of a trend within the homesteading community where people are moving away from the Cornish Cross and moving toward the Freedom Rangers. Now, we've been raising the Cornish Cross for about 7 years and we really like them, but we wanted to know what this new kind of fad is about with the Freedom Rangers. Is it really worth switching, or should we be sticking with the Cornish Cross? Well, instead of taking someone else's word for it, we decided to raise both of them and see which one we like better. But we're trying to do this in a very factual way. We're not trying to put our opinion on it. We're just trying to give you guys the facts week by week as to how they're growing, how much feed they're eating, and eventually which one is going to be better for meat, both quantity of meat and quality of meat.
This week is a big week for these chickens. They will be coming out of the brooder and will be moving into the chicken tractors for the remainder of their stay on our homestead. They will also be transitioning from having access to food 24/7 to our new feeding plan, which they will have feed for 12 hours a day and off 12 hours a day.
Some hatcheries say to start that at day 5. We actually wait until they're 3 weeks old. We have found that just works better, and they end up being a bigger bird faster. So both groups of chicks have now gone through their first 50-pound bag of chick starter, but the Freedom Rangers actually finished theirs up a couple days ago, and they're on to their now second bag, which is a chick grower, an 18% chick grower. The Cornish will just be starting their bag of chick grower today. So we'll measure and see how far ahead on feed consumption the Freedom Rangers are as of right now. Our plan is for today to bring them out of the brooder one at a time. We'll do the same as we've done other weeks, where we weigh 5 of each group, and then we'll move them into the tractors and we'll see where they're at. Alright, so we're going to weigh the feed for the Freedom Rangers. Now keep in mind, remember that the Cornish they just finished their first bag this morning, so we know theirs is 50 pounds because they're 50-pound bags. The Freedom Rangers finished theirs a while ago, so we're going to weigh what's now in their second bag so we know exactly how much they've eaten. Now we'll have to use our bathroom scale because our other scale doesn't go up above 30 pounds, and I think there's more than 30 pounds of feed in this bag. So I'm going to weigh myself, and then we'll weigh the feed and we'll see how much they've eaten. Alright, so first I'll weigh myself, but I'm not going to tell you what I weigh. Now I'll weigh myself again with the bag of feed. Nine pounds out of that bag. So they've eaten... So they're pretty consistent with last week. Last week they were 10 pounds ahead of the Cornish Cross. This week they're 9 pounds ahead of the Cornish Cross.
So the good news this week is that we did not lose any birds. None of them died. Because of loss from the last couple of weeks, we are now at 22 Cornish Cross chickens and still 25 Freedom Ranger chickens. We're going to start weighing them to see the progress of how they've been growing from the past week. We're going to start with the Freedom Rangers. Now, I want to remind you all that when we ordered the chicks, we typically order all male chicks because they grow faster, and we did that with the Cornish Cross. However, when we were ordering the Freedom Rangers from the hatchery, we forgot to specify males only. So when we're weighing them, we will be choosing the largest of the Freedom Ranger birds that we can just see to bring out and weigh, making an assumption that those will be male chickens. But the Cornish Cross we'll just grab randomly, hoping to make that as equal as possible. We can't control every variable. We're not doing a scientific study. We're just doing a homestead study. So we're just doing the best we can. So let me start grabbing Freedom Rangers. I'll be right back. The Freedom Rangers, they're looking good. It looks like they're about 50% feathered. And the males, the roosters, their combs are starting to become more red and pronounced, so it's starting to get easier to determine which is a rooster and which is a hen. So let's go ahead and weigh this guy.
1.21 pounds.
Number 2.
1.23 pounds.
Number 3.
1.14 pounds.
Number 4.
1.16 pounds.
Number 5.
1.19 pounds.
All right, so we're going to move the rest of the Freedom Rangers out to the tractor now. But I wanted to just remind you guys of some of the equipment that we use. If you want detailed instructions how to make things, how to make the tractors, the waters, the feeders, I go over all of that in the series that I did last summer on how to raise the Cornish Cross. We'll leave a link to that playlist up here. Basically, each tractor is going to have a 5-gallon automatic water bucket. Each tractor is also going to have an automatic feeder that holds, has a 5-gallon bucket. And we always put the food on the side that has the tarp in case it would rain, and we put the water over on the side that's open, just so that doesn't matter if that gets rained on. And so each tractor will have exactly the same setup. This is the bag of feed for the Freedom Rangers. Again, we're feeding them out of separate bags so we can keep track week by week. Put the food bucket there. And their water down there. All right, Freedom Rangers are settling into their tractor. I'm gonna start grabbing the Cornish and we'll see where they're at. All right, number 1. 1.57 pounds. Number 2. 1.66 pounds. Number 3. 1.58 pounds. All right, number 4. 1.38 pounds. Number 5. 1.44 pounds. All right, so we're moving the rest of the Cornish Cross out. One comment I wanted to make, because I hear this a lot about the Cornish Cross, is that they don't get as many feathers as the Freedom Rangers. And I mean, that may be true down the road, but as of right now, just so you guys have the facts, as of right now, they have just as many feathers. All right, so we've gone in the house and we've done all the nerdy math that we could do, and we figured out what's going on with these chickens, and here's the report.
Okay, I'm gonna start with the Freedom Rangers. I've got their information. So on average this week, the Freedom Rangers weigh 1.19 pounds. And total from the time that they got onto our homestead until now, as far as feed goes, each one of them has eaten 2.36 pounds per bird of food. Now from last week to this week, overall they have grown 83%. And their current feed conversion is 1.98. And I'll have Kevin talk about feed conversion.
So what feed conversion means is that's how much feed they need to eat to gain 1 pound of body weight. So the Freedom Rangers right now have had to eat just under 2 pounds, 1.98 pounds of feed to gain 1 pound. All right, so let's look at the Cornish Cross and see how they did this week. So the average weight this week for the Cornish Cross is now 1.53 pounds. So they are bigger than the Freedom Rangers. They, on average now, have eaten 2.27 pounds of feed per bird. and this week they had a 71% growth rate. So their growth rate is slower, is less than that of the Freedom Rangers this week, because the Freedom Rangers were at 83%, they're at 71%, but the Cornish are bigger. Now the feed conversion for the Cornish is 1.48. So that to me is significant. As you remember, we said the Freedom Rangers so far have gone through 59 pounds of feed, and the Cornish have gone through 50 pounds of feed. Well, this is why. For every pound of weight that the Cornish have put on, they've only had to eat a little under 1.5 pounds of food, where the Freedom Rangers have had to eat almost 2 pounds of feed. So that's quite significant as you're talking about them getting bigger. So we'll continue to track this every week and see if that trend continues between the two birds. So there you go, all the nerdy chicken facts you could handle in 1 week. We're going to continue to do this every week until both of these are at butcher size, which we'll see where that ends up being. Typically around 8 weeks for the Cornish Cross. We know that because we've raised them before. We'll see what it ends up being at the for the Freedom Rangers. You know, really the contest has to stop at 8 weeks or whenever we butcher the Cornish Cross. So we'll see at that point who's put on the most weight, who is going to give us the most meat per pound of food consumed and all of that fun stuff. And we'll make our final decision about what we're going to do next year.
You guys, thanks so much for joining us on this journey where we are investigating the facts between raising Cornish Cross and Freedom Ranger meat chickens. If you enjoyed this and you're not a subscriber yet, right now it's a perfect time to hit the subscribe button below. If you know somebody that would be interested in this as well, please go ahead and share that with them. Thank you to all you traditionalists who come back 5 days a week for all of our new videos. Until next time, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.